Obi-Wan has reappeared in live-action Star Wars, and I love it. For me, Star Wars hasn't really been the same since Rogue One was released in theaters. It was an awesome movie and definitely really felt like the Star Wars universe. I was actually really skeptical going into that movie because I was like, why do I want to watch a movie about getting the Death Star plans that doesn't involve lightsabers or Jedi, which was really the thing that I loved the most about Star Wars. Good versus evil with really cool powers. But Rogue One proved to me that I don't need Jedi and lightsabers in a Star Wars movie to thoroughly enjoy it. It's quite simple actually, it just needs to be a well-made movie. Or TV show for that matter. But film and TV is definitely subjective, so I totally understand that not everybody is going to have the exact same viewpoints as I do. And honestly, if you do have the exact same as me, I would be slightly concerned because we are two different people and different people are going to have different opinions. With that being said, live action Star Wars has been very hit or miss for me since the Disney era of Star Wars has begun. But thankfully, Obi-Wan Kenobi has been one of the good ones so far. This is fantastic because Obi-Wan is my favorite character from the prequel series of the Star Wars movies. So I was super excited to see Ewan McGregor back as Obi-Wan Kenobi. That was so cool. So, part 1 and part 2 were a great introduction to Obi-Wan's mindset and makes the world of Star Wars feel much more lived in than it ever has before. One of the best surprises so far is getting to see young Leia. She is just as smart and as sassy as I would have expected her to be as a 10-year-old. But on the subject of Leia, she's also actually a part of the scene that really hasn't worked for me in the series so far, and that would be, spoiler alert, when Leia is kidnapped. It kind of felt like one of those scenes where she was supposed to be having playful fun with these creepy looking characters, and then you would later find out, oh, they're just creepy looking people, but they're actually her security detail or something of those sorts. That's what the scene was giving me as a vibe. But then, turns out, oh no, they are actually trying to kidnap her. And one of the kidnappers literally ran into a branch that Leia was short enough to run underneath. Like, really? You're just gonna run into that? Like, this scene literally felt like it was supposed to be slapstick comedy. And I was like, why is this in Star Wars? Since we're on that note of negative things, I just wanted to mention the third sister's dialogue in a couple of scenes. Don't get me wrong, I actually really like the character and what they're doing with the character. I just thought the dialogue that was written for her was kinda cheesy to a degree. It almost seemed like the show wanted to do one thing with her, and then her delivery of the lines made it feel another way. But once again, I do want to say I do really like the idea of this character and where this character has been going so far, and in episode 3 she felt much, much better. The actress Ingram Moses does not deserve any of the hate that she's getting online for whatever problems people have with her character. That is not her fault. That would be the fault of the directors and the screenwriters. Which, either way, it's not really that bad at all. Star Wars fans are just being gatekeepy and feeling like if Star Wars isn't exactly as they remember it, it's not Star Wars. Those are pretty much all my negatives about the show. So let's talk about the things that I like, including liking you, smashing the like button on this YouTube video for the YouTube algorithm. But the things I like definitely have to start with Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. It makes my heart so happy to see him as Obi-Wan again, and he has been doing a truly fantastic job of showing how Obi-Wan is now this broken and scared man, kind of like how Luke was in The Last Jedi. Speaking of being scared, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you're not scared of missing my girlfriend reacting to Obi-Wan Kenobi coming later this month. But the performance that Ewan McGregor gave on finding out that Anakin Skywalker is still alive as the third sister, as Reva is hunting him, man, I really felt it in my heart here. Obi-Wan thinking, oh no, my best friend and brother that I had to kill and dismember is still alive. The performance of that scene was incredible. I can't imagine how, if that were me, how destroyed on the inside I would feel. Things I am looking forward to in this show is definitely hearing Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn again. Now, it's unlikely that we'll see a Force ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn, especially if they follow the canon of Star Wars Clone Wars, the animated series. In the animated series, you see Yoda speaking with Qui-Gon on Dagobah, and Qui-Gon is explaining he went through this training and he didn't actually finish the training, so he can't fully manifest as a Force ghost, but he can project his voice through the Force. So my money is on we're going to see, well, hear Qui-Gon Jinn come back again. Especially since Obi-Wan was referencing it earlier in part 1. But I really like this approach that they're taking with Obi-Wan, how he seems to be afraid of the Force and kind of disconnected himself from it. This probably has to do with his conflicted feelings on what he had to do to Anakin and how he's having to live this life of solidarity and hiding. So him reconnecting with the Force, and likely Qui-Gon Jinn as well, is going to be very interesting to see, and I can't wait to see how this plays out. With part 3 just airing on Disney Plus, I'm definitely still on board with this show. It's made very obvious that Obi-Wan obviously does not trust anyone, and they show off even more how smart and witty Leia is for a 10-year-old. Like, holy cow. We also get to find out what the rebellion was referred to very early on in its life, and it turns out it was called the Path. And it seems like there were actually a lot of Jedi helping out with the Path. Probably more than we've been led to believe. We're actually involved with the rebellion in the first place. But then there's the big moment of the episode. Vader and Obi-Wan finally come face to face once again. Earlier in the show, Obi-Wan has a vision of Anakin standing in the field. So it kind of alluded to the fact that we're going to for sure see Darth Vader later on in this episode. And oh man, was I right about that foreshadowing. But there it is. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader face off for the first time since Mustafar. And Darth Vader absolutely kicks Obi-Wan's. So this also confirms a lot of fan theories that Obi-Wan and Vader had seen each other since the Battle of Mustafar, but there was never any canonical evidence of them ever encountering each other until now. So now we know when Vader says, "When I left you, I was but a learner. Now I am the master." As well as the line, "I sense a presence I have not sensed since." But this encounter with Vader has made it even more clear to me how disconnected from the Force and how scared of a man Obi-Wan has become. There were also a couple of more subtle things that I noticed in this episode that a few other people might not have noticed or might have forgotten about after the whole Darth Vader thing. Like Obi-Wan mentioning that he had a brother. Like, oh, so there's definitely more Kenobis running around in the Star Wars world, and they probably didn't just mention that as a throwaway line. That's probably going to come back up again at some point. And the other thing that stood out to me was when Obi-Wan told Leia how much she looks like her mother, and Leia looking at him. They were having a totally fake conversation, by the way, but take Leia looking at him and realizing that when he said that to her, that he genuinely meant that from his heart and knew that like he was talking about her actual mother. And I feel like that was them showing her kind of tapping into her Force sensitivity and learning more about Obi-Wan and why he's doing what he's doing for her. It was overall just a really sweet moment. And I'm really looking forward to just seeing the rest of this series out in general. So if you like nerdy talk like this, definitely make sure to check out my last video about the Halo TV series. Was it really that bad? And make sure to subscribe to my channel to make sure you get the rest of my videos as they're uploaded.